Okay, we're just getting started. So now some invites. It is our third official Handshake Mastermind Twitter space. Mike Michelini, and I will share with the tweet. Again, thank you for making it, and try our best. There's lots of stuff to talk about on our agenda today, and as always, I think it will never be a dull moment in Handshake and the decentralized internet and the fight for the ability for a human being to say what they want to say, how they want to say it. So again, we want to make this open forum. We want to invite people on stage. There are Chango, Mike Carson, Motivating Gene have been confirmed to co-host with me. Hopefully they'll join soon. I'm going to read off. We're recording this. We will make this available on Twitter, of course, but also we record this and share this on YouTube and other channels as well. And as we actually use a Handshake name, Handshake.mastermind is a mastermind TLD we have. And that's what I like to start with, is using your names. I know a lot of people are waiting for the right use or the right time or the right technology, but I know .wallet is on the list to discuss today. So the argument is about some of the argument was about usage. So using as much as you can to show people that we are building on Handshake and building websites is definitely effective and helpful. Again, if anybody wants to raise their hand, we would like that. If you want to ask questions, I already got a question. I think Arif here. Thanks, Arif. You gave a question about when OpenSea will cover that. And great, some good people. Mark, buddy, nice to see you here. If you want to come up, definitely love to invite you up on stage. Try our best to take questions. Okay, I see some hand waving. And I'll send some invites about this. Make sure I'm recording. Okay, I just started recording on my other microphone. Okay, Mike Seiger, thank you all for making it. Again, we have a list here of items. I hope Chango can make it. I just talked to her. She's great. She's the host at Interchange, and then Motivating Gene will be joining as well. Anne is here. Anne, I'm going to invite you up. Invite. And let's hope my phone stays stable. I wish I could do this on my laptop, but Twitter Spaces has to be done on a phone. I see Terra Spaces. I think that's great. They're recording this as well. We'll even put it on iTunes. Thank you, Terra Spaces, for your support here. And so on my list to discuss, of course, I think we'll just get it over early and try to not harp on it too much, but the UD, Unstoppable, and the Wallet saga. I know Chango is here. Okay, great. Invite. Send invite. Okay. So Chango, you got an invite here. I think that's you. It's hard to tell with the... Okay, there you go. Hi, Chango. How are you doing today?
Hey, Mike.
Good evening. All right. So we have I trying to make a list here. I think we'll just get Mike Carson. Unfortunately, saw a lot of talk about wallet and gateway, and says it's due to legal proceedings. Best he's not involved in that discussion, but hopefully he can join after. I told him maybe the first 30 minutes might be on this wallet Unstoppable topic. He might join us after, but he cannot. He is not able or willing to contribute to that discussion due to legal proceedings, unfortunately. But just to put that out there. So I don't know, maybe we get this over with at the beginning. And then I want to talk about there's lots of stuff to talk about, not just the wallet and Unstoppable, but there's some other items I have on my list is HIP2, the well-known wallet. Some people are asked to talk about that. The latest Tornado.cash, which is recent, about the takedown of the domain. Impervious Registries updates, and there's some movement for the Metamask integration, just like ENS domains, because Impervious Registry is a fork of ENS. It still needs to get integrated to Metamask, so there's an open discussion on that. And then RF asked about OpenSea with Handshake. So those are topics I have, and of course we can allow people up on stage. Django, do you want to maybe introduce yourself for those that aren't familiar, and then we can get this started?
Hey, yeah. So I'm part of the DWeb Foundation, and we started that 2020 to help with some Handshake adoption. And so right now we're bringing forth the Opera integration, and that's part of the biggest deliverables that we're seeking to deliver this year.
Yeah, it's a big one, and we're all really actually. I don't know if that brings up a point. I mean, there has been this questions about when Opera is there. I'd love to hear an update if there's some info you can share with us.
So the follow up says that we're going to hear more about where they're at in mid-August, and that's the latest that I have from them.
Okay, well, it's coming up pretty quick, so that's great. All right, so I know I saw your post. You found the open letter from the Wallet TLD owner. He kind of just actually, I think he didn't want that to go so public. Honestly, from what I do talk to him, he doesn't want to be so famous. But yeah, he made that, and it kind of got a little bit viral, I would say, at least in the community, about his call to the Handshake community about the wallet issue. So, I loved your post, and I loved, your angle. Do you want to share your thoughts, Django?
Yeah, so I am sorry that he was sort of at the butt end of that. But I read that letter and was really upset, obviously, because it felt like it was not just an attack on him, it was an attack on all Handshake TLD holders. And I wanted to sort of mobilize everyone around this, seeing as how Unstoppable is doing some really web 2 / tradfi kind of moves, and it's totally not crypto native, and it just offended me so much that I wanted everyone who would listen to know about this. So I am sorry that the wallet owner got blown up in this way, but that was actually my intention, to just have everyone to have everyone in the community see Unstoppable for what it is.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree. Again, I don't. Well, I think we can maybe do the first part of this Twitter space on it. I don't think we need a whole call on it, but yeah, I've been upset too. I wasn't, I feel also involved. I helped launch or promote the. I mean, he asked me because obviously I have some, channels and I'm in the community, so I helped, do as best I can to get the word out. There was some confusion about even the pricing of $1 or $1.99, which is still both so low, and I think we were aware this would, of course, get their attention, but we didn't expect it to get to that escalation. So I think from my interpretation, again, it's, it's a legal proceeding. So that's why people can't or don't want to share openly, because it's a legal issue. And Unstoppable, as many of you saw, raised a decent amount of money at a pretty high valuation. And it seems like they're willing to use a certain percentage of that in legal proceedings. But even whoever's right or wrong, you still need to defend. You still need to defend yourself and pay for the legal costs to defend a lawsuit and to, go to court, whether people like that or not. If somebody, sues you or makes you go to court, even if you're right, you need to defend yourself and pay and defend yourself correctly and win. So the thought is Unstoppable will continually file lawsuits. Even if they lose, they will continue to do it. And their argument is they have a trademark, which I don't think is true, but they say they have a trademark on it, which is really bothering a lot of people because we believe that's not true. And they say they were the first to market. So I believe those are the main points. The lawsuit is I believe public. People can read it. So of course I think it's a beautiful thing about Handshake, but the the challenge of Handshake is a decentralized kind of grassroots community where each TLD owner can be a larger corporation. Like, of course, Namecheap has some TLDs, but it can also be like the .wallet owner, a individual investor or business owner. And, you have maybe not the same budget as other companies in legal. So that's kind of the situation right now. And I know people are upset about the gateway names. I have domains I've bought on there. It's basically frozen right now because of the lawsuit. And I'm really trying to help get that unlocked, but because of the legal proceedings, they are freezing it now. But I do believe Namecheap and others are not selling domains of sold domains that are in gateway. So that's kind of my understanding of the situation.
This is a precedent-setting case, and I think it is bigger than just .wallet, right? It needs that sort of community awareness, because I talked to some investors of that round of Unstoppables round, and they weren't aware of these types of actions. And when I brought it to their attention, that was when they were alarmed. And so, people are buying into Unstoppable under the pretense that Unstoppable is meant to be some Web3 game-changing domain name utility. And in reality, they're just doing some Web2 shit, slapped a smart contract on top of ICANN TLDs and called it a day. So I just think it's important that everyone in all of crypto who's buying into domain names and thinking that digital decentralized identity is going to be the future, to understand that Unstoppable is in no way, shape, or form part of that narrative. That's what's important. And so this lawsuit is it needs to be publicized, right? There needs to be a lot of people scrutinizing this and understanding what's happening. Same way as when I don't know, the latest Johnny Depp Amber Heard thing comes to mind, with just it benefited Johnny Depp greatly for everyone to understand the situation and to watch what's actually happening, which is why he asked for the trial to be live streamed. So I understand that there is privacy that needs to be preserved, but at the same time, awareness is, there needs to be a huge light shown on this, so that Unstoppable can't just silently in the background use its war chest to do this to every single TLD owner that stands in their way, that they want to just obliterate into nothingness, just using money and threat of legal power, right? So imagine if this happened in 2009 when there was only Bitcoin, and then Federal Reserve sees this thing when Bitcoin was at its nascent stage, when it's just like a little baby and it's very fragile, and then it comes in and just threatens to sue Coinbase or anyone that works on it out into oblivion, so that it never stood a chance to blossom. That's kind of where it's at right now with Handshake, and that's just some Goliath bullying a little baby David move that is just absolutely appalling to see. So that's my rant.
No, I appreciate it. I mean, I'm on your side. I mean, I've been just reading at Twitter, and I just worry it gets a little bit toxic. I think as a community of Handshake, we have to stay at least professional. And what we noticed with the lawsuit was, they even screen grabbed, so James was one of the owners of Gateway. There's a little bit of confusion of the corporate structure of Gateway, and there was some different parent companies of Gateway. But some things he said on Twitter, I believe, was used in the lawsuit. And I think we all as a community need to realize, Unstoppable has a lot of lawyers. They're probably reading Twitter. They're probably in our Discords. They're probably everywhere trying to build more and more of a case. I think they used like some of James's tweets because I think sometimes if you're obnoxious, I'm not sure the right word, but they're very smart, right? They have, it depends what you define as smart, but lawyers are finding ways to use whatever they can in these legal proceedings. So I didn't read fully the case of the lawsuit, but sometimes stuff that we as a community say can actually hurt us. So I think we have to stay professional. But I do know Namecheap is getting involved. Namecheap's been really helping a lot in Handshake, and I can't say too much. I actually know a lot, and I just know that it's not, while it might be quieter, there's gonna be more legal ramifications going from all of this. And I speak to the wallet owner a lot, and he's really not giving up. So I don't want people to think there's any giving up, but we're being more strategic about how some of these people in this case are being quiet on purpose as a strategy. But of course, we as a community can say anything we want. We're decentralized, we're each our own person. But I think some of these key people are just being quiet on as a strategy.
Right, I understand that. But the fact that the plaintiffs' lawyers are grabbing public tweets as part of their lawsuit is more of a testament to how little of a case that they have. Just look at how Amber Heard's lawyers did that too, out of desperation, because they don't actually have any evidence otherwise to actually go for what they claim. So
yeah,
but I understand why the people actually involved in the case are staying silent, obviously. But everyone around them can talk about it.
Of course. And so my other point is it's going to make us stronger as a community. I mean, I think it's just pushing everyone to go more decentralized. I know, Richard has said on tweets, and the Namecheap CEO, that one of his main interests was decentralized SLDs. That was one of his interests in Handshake, and we've even watched him learn, in my opinion. But I think this is just accelerating DSLDs, or decentralized SLDs, in Handshake. We see Impervious Registry just came out a few weeks ago, which is an Ethereum based fork of ENS. And I see more and more TLDs being added to that. I know Namecheap and Namebase is working on one. I'm not as familiar with that one, but that's coming. I mean, I just think it's just forcing us as a community to be more and more decentralized. It is a little bit embarrassing, to be honest, that Gateway was so easily frozen, and it did confuse a lot of the people not as aware of Handshake, thinking like they thought that all of Handshake was taken down because of a lawsuit or the domains. But just to be clear for people, I think a lot of people I'm watching in a room are aware of Handshake. Handshake is a TLD blockchain, not a SLD blockchain. So the Gateway SLDs were centralized, meaning they're hosted on a web server, a Web 2 server, and a database. I think they're actually use Amazon AWS. So there could be taken down on the hosting. They could be at the database. They could be taken down. But the .wallet is on the Handshake blockchain, and that can it's a proof of work blockchain and will exist. It cannot be just deleted or seized. I hope I said that correct. You can correct me if I'm wrong. But there was some confusion that did bother me. People confusing the situation.
Right, that's using Coinbase for Bitcoin and saying that if Coinbase got taken down in 2010, that Bitcoin is centralized.
Good point. There were some people requesting to speak. I did approve them, but I don't see them. But yeah, so I think the main point is everyone's focusing more on decentralized. Even I was testing with the WHCMS, and I have on SkyInclude. It's kind of, this whole case has made me not really even want to entertain it as much, that project, because it is centralized. I know, and I am talking to the wallet TLD owner, and he's asking, like, can we move this to another solution? But if he was, and he definitely wants to keep everybody's records, anybody that bought a .wallet, I know you're maybe upset or nervous, but for sure the wallet TLD owner wants to honor your purchases. And while he himself cannot get the records of who bought what, very worst case is your email receipts would be used as a proof, but we hope that won't get to that point. But he's been asking me, and I said, well, if you put on WHCMS, WHCMS, which is kind of a common registrar IT solution, could be also taken down. Another point I want to bring up is OpenSea is also takes down a lot of NFT projects or other projects. So I wonder if the .wallet of Handshake was brought into OpenSea. I could imagine Unstoppable trying to get OpenSea to delist that. It is a little bit kind of hypocritical, right? To see all these Web3 projects that are not truly, Web3, in my opinion.
I don't know. OpenSea does that to call the overt scams that are trying to steal people's money or are like phishing scams or whatever. But yeah, I don't think they've actually been too heavy-handed when it comes to being like a legit NFT project. I mean that being said, it's just like we're friends with them. So, if we wanted them to list it, we can.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a point to bring up that OpenSea does filter. I mean, even in any platform can filter. And when I explain to people personally about what I see decentralization as, is it separates a protocol level to a app level or a dApp level. So I see OpenSea as the app, as a dApp, right? And so they can of course filter or delete, but your ownership is still on chain and can be viewed maybe in looks rare if you're in Ethereum or other marketplaces. Or of course you can see it in your wallet or Etherscan. So just to educate people or share to people, these are different ways of looking at it. And I think there'll always be some kind of filtering and censorship, even in the Web3 or decentralized web. It'll just be different platforms are choosing to show or display what they like.
Right. The point is that there's not any single monolithic platform that all of the activity is concentrated on.
Okay. I see some great people in the room. I mean, you can look at yourself. I mean, they're willing to come up. I mean, there's people here that might be helpful if they would like to share. I think some of them said they won't be able to, but if you're here, you can see there's some great people in the room. Thank you all for being here. We hope this is helpful. I'm just wondering, I would like to move to the next topic, Chingo. I mean, I think it's worth. I mean, is there something we want to add to this or summarize, or maybe? I mean, it's a little bit stuck right now. It's just stuck in legal proceedings between the Gateway and Unstoppable right now, but it's definitely moving forward. I don't want people to lose hope just because it's quiet. It's actually a strategic thing, from what I understand. So should we move on? Oh, I see some people requesting. Okay. Nepal, TLD King, great to see you here. Oh, you still there? Okay. Well, he did come up for a second, but he's not here now. He's still in the room. But oh wait, you're here. Paul, how's it going?
Hey, what's going on, Michael?
Great to see you here.
Hope you guys.
I love the ape and everything.
Oh, thanks, man.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm doing.
I'd love to hear your insights.
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah, no, I just heard you're moving on.
I just heard you're moving on to the next topic. Is there an echo? Or is it me?
Okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
I think I got to mute. Maybe when mine does that, I'll mute.
Yeah, I just you mentioned you're moving to the next topic, and I was hoping that you're going to be talking about Decentralized. Seem to be doing similar to what Handshake is doing, but on the ETH chain. And so I had some questions about that. Not sure if that's a topic you can be touching on today.
Maybe we just do it right now. I mean, might as well. I mean, so on my list, we have HIP2, somebody asked about, which is a well-known wallet, Tornado.cash, Impervious Registry updates, Metamask integrations, and RF asked about OpenSea integration, but it's a little bit of a complicated discussion because OpenSea is Ethereum blockchain, but yeah, we can just jump into it right now. I mean, I'm aware of them. I've been following them. I could start that, or do you want to share first and then we can go?
Oh, no, I mean, they just came across my radar.
Okay.
I'm sure you've heard all
them. So go ahead. You speak about it.
It's probably better. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, my understanding is they recently came out. I think it's decentralweb.org or something. So what their strategy is, they're actually trying to do what Handshake does with issuing TLDs. They discredit Handshake because it's proof of work and it's a small chain, and they believe it can easily be 51% attacked, which is not, in my research, and true. I did a whole 30 or 40-minute talk with Matt Zipkin. I think he's in the audience at SkyInclude.com/51attack, where we discredit the idea of the whole chain can be taken down with the 51% attack. So it seems like the person is a marketer that wrote that article. But basically, they're saying that Handshake, the idea of issuing TLDs is not a job of ICANN. And it's the same story as Handshake. It's true. The whole use case of having TLDs, but they're building on Ethereum and they're issuing an Ethereum coin. I know Chango studied them a little bit too. And then when our community, I've seen others in our community approach them, hey, why not work with Handshake? They basically just say, oh, it's proof of work. It's not, it's the environment's bad. It can be 51% attacked. But I just feel like there's
every basic value talking point that goes against work ever. Like that's what anyone says if they don't understand how proof of work works.
Yeah, and honestly, I didn't understand it. That's why I invited Matt Zipkin on the channel SkyInclude, and he explains it very clearly that you can't just take down everybody's TLDs by having like a DDoS attack on the chain. It sounds like that. I mean, people get confused.
I mean, the protocol itself has DDoS protection built in.
Okay, well, that's great to know.
Which is like DDoS protection is completely different from 51% attacking a proof of work chain. Like, first of all, you can't get ASICs. It's so hard. I mean, it's manufactured by like most of the ASICs in the market is manufactured by Gold Shell. First of all, they sell out completely as soon as they get a new batch. So you can't even buy 51% of hash power enough to be able to do that. And then second of all, you have to get like let's assume that you do get enough ASICs to go online and run Handshake. So I mean, okay, so you're going to compete with the large pool, like F2 pool, for example. Like they're not going to 51% attack the Handshake blockchain. And if at any point they do have over 51% of the hash power, they like any individual miner can just point it to another pool, and there you go. And then okay. So you have to assume that somebody malicious comes in with a bunch of ASICs, like points it to a pool that has 51% of the hash power, and then maybe that pool colludes with another pool, and that none of the individual miners delegating hash power is going to like redirect the hash power anywhere else, then yeah, maybe they could revert the chain a couple of blocks, let's say.
Yeah, that's the exact point, that last sentence. I think what people don't understand is they think that they could 51% attack and then take all the TLDs and put them in their wallet and then leave. But they just because even if they were able to 51% attack, like you said, for a 1 block, 2 blocks, 10 blocks, they wouldn't be able to like take stuff from people. Like that's what I actually thought that too. And I was naive, and just a few months ago I had Zipkin come on the show to explain it. But all they can do is take those blocks that are happening and they can control those blocks. But to actually transfer a name, it's not like Ethereum that can just transfer my NFT, my Bored Ape, over in one block. It has I forgot how many blocks, 188 blocks to move a TLD on Handshake, which is like 2 days. So they'd have to have a 51% attack for 2 days long to transfer a TLD from one. I don't even think they could do that though. I don't even think they can get into the wallet with. It's best to like really listen to that 51 attack I did with Matt Zipkin. I don't see him in the audience right now, but we're not going to be able to explain to people about it, but on a Twitter space, in my opinion. But people don't understand what it means. They don't understand about 51 attack, and then they just use that. But I still feel like the decentral org, there's some guy and his name is like Mafia Boy is his like name, but I just feel like it seems centralized to me. It's like they want to issue their own DWeb token, and they want to say, oh, we're going to like disrupt ICANN and we'll become ICANN because we're not bad. Like ICANN is bad, right? It's like Unstoppable as well. Like they're trying to be a centralized owner of, they're saying we are the king. We are the TLD king, like you, right? Like, and then follow us and then listen to us. Like, that's what I like about Handshake is this, there's name base, there's name cheap, there's bigger players, but they're not like the authority, like the whole point of it is it's decentralized and so it just
So what they're trying to do is, because if they're gonna slap a governance token on top of it, then basically the governance token holders are going to be deciding on the authoritative root zone and acting as the ICANN replacement, and whoever is in control of that smart contract, it's probably, let's say like 5 of 11 or something. But that number is infinitesimally smaller than the number of people who already manage the ICANN root zone. And so relative to that is still a more centralized solution than ICANN. So just because they slap a smart contract on Ethereum and calling it a day, saying that it's more decentralized and environmentally conscious than Handshake, is just a gross marketing ploy that doesn't understand how things work, even in ICANN land.
Yeah, this to me it seems like what they seem to be doing is what Handshake is doing and Forever Domains, and they've packaged both of those together and they're offering that as a solution. I think it's a good marketing angle. I wish they would do it directly, with Handshake, but that's the next step. I mean, that's what we all want. We want our TLDs and our SLDs to be NFTs and offer these to people, put them in their wallets. And so to me, that's like their angle is more marketing angle. It's like, all right, Handshake is great. What's the next step? What do people want? And I kind of called him, not really called him out, just kind of went back and forth on LinkedIn with the gentleman. I didn't realize his name was Mafia Boys. He goes a little more professional on LinkedIn, but as soon as he started mentioning it to me, as soon as it came up on my LinkedIn feed, to me right away, Handshake came up, and so he went back and forth, kind of what you said, with the whole 51% attack and all that. But to me, more it's just coming from a marketing angle. Yeah.
Yeah, he's a good marketer. He wrote some NASDAQ article I didn't even realize, but it's the same story as Handshake. It's just his solution is Ethereum is better, and we're going to make a DWeb token, and we're going to start to auction off these TLDs, but they're like smart contracts on Ethereum natively. And it's true, they're like forever. But I mean, I think that's why it's good that Impervious came. I think honestly, Impervious Registry came out faster than they wanted, which I'm happy because I want the community to ship before is perfect. So I think maybe the wallet issue, maybe this Decentralized others is what accelerated Impervious Registry. But Impervious Registry, I saw somebody literally buy, it's not my TLD, but I saw Likey, Likey. Somebody bought that on Namebase for 1,199 HNS today or yesterday. You can look it up on Namebase. And they posted it on the Impervious Registry. And there's 5 SLD registrations of Likey, like me.likey, likey.likey, etc. So I think that's really beautiful, to me. That's decentralization. They bought a name and then they staked it and then they're selling SLDs and they're getting paid. I mean, what's wrong with that, and I still feel like Handshake is more secure than Ethereum, and people will think I'm crazy, but after what I understood about proof of work, it's also, it's a little bit annoying. I can't really transfer a TLD in one block like I can send my Bored Ape to another wallet, but I think that's more security. People will have 188 blocks, unless it's name-based to name-based, but technically it's in the same wallet on name-based. But if I move it between wallets, I would know I believe it's 188 blocks, but I'll know it's being transferred and there's a finalization transaction. But I just feel like it's much more of a secure. And I know that's not what most people think, but I think it is.
I mean, look, I think there's more power to them for experimenting, right? And having their own theory, but let's give them 5-10 years and see how things pan out, right? Like us as early adopters of this technology understand we could see this from a mile away that, okay, good luck scaling. So, in 5 years time, let's see how they do. Let's see where they're at, because I know that they're not going to be able to scale. If they're trying to act as the root zone and use Ethereum as the root zone for that, yeah, good luck. You use a smart contract to try to do root zone functionality. Okay. Yeah, let's see how it pans out for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's a little bit unfortunate. We wish I think Handshake always wants to, with the whole way it was built, was try to integrate with Web 2, not collide, but yeah, it seems like they're not building it to work with Handshake and using this, like marketing tactics of 51% attacks and not in small changes.
If they're doing the basically the Handshake application, which is like displacing ICANN as the TLD zone, they're like, there's only one answer, and that's Handshake. But if they're trying to create some siloed thing where it's like kind of like ENS, where you're just selling sort of like a meta DNS thing, not even a DNS. I don't want to call it DNS, like a meta naming thing, like a vanity wallet addresses thing. Then that could work. ENS is a very good naming solution identifier across Ethereum, and that's great. But that's that, right? They shouldn't. It's not able to be sold as anything more than that, where you're trying to say like, okay, well, we're decentralizing DNS root zone. You're not allowed to say that. But a lot of people do say that, even though architecturally they don't address that at all.
Yeah, there's another point there. Somebody bought a .f domain. Impervious just released that, I think, like 24 hours ago or less or so. Maybe I'm wrong, maybe in 2 days. But yeah, definitely grab a .f domain, single character on Impervious. But somebody bought one. I can't remember the SLD. I really can't. It was on Twitter, but I think it was like E3.f or something. But he's like, look, I bought this and I have a website. He shows a screenshot of like WordPress. He's like, I installed WordPress and I can open it. I cannot do this currently with ENS or Unstoppable right now. And it's true. Can I install a WordPress blog on a .eth or a Unstoppable domain? They're using those as identities. It is and a wallet name. They're not using them as much as a website. I think they forward to an IPFS address or something, but they're not really trying to make like a DNS replacement. I think maybe in the future they are talking about it, but yeah, Handshake is more about websites than about wallet names and identities. I think they're two different use cases or tracks. So just some more insights. Okay, so is that helpful for the Decentra Web 1, Paul, or is there some points that we want to cover more?
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. Thanks, Anne and Cosmos and Michael. Yeah. Are you going to be talking about Impervious?
Yeah, it's on the list. Maybe we can go to that next. I feel like maybe these are in kind of order. So let's talk about Impervious. I think even the last month's Twitter space we did here, it wasn't yet live. I remember Mike Carson sent me a message saying, oh, we got something really exciting announced. Too bad it was too early for the last Twitter space. But yeah, I mean, Impervious Registry came out. It would be very interesting if Wallet staked with Impervious. We could discuss what would have happened. But yeah, Impervious Registry is registry.impervious.com. It's allowed people to stake a Handshake TLD onto the Ethereum blockchain using a lot of different tech that's been built over the last couple of years. You can remember maybe .badass. I think, Paul, I bought some .badass. There's .forever. But those were both TLDs that were owned or operated or controlled, by the Impervious team. I know a lot of people always were complaining to them and me. They're like, oh, I want to stake my own. I want to do my own. I want to use my own fork of ENS domains. So what Impervious has done is created a solution, a platform, I call it, So it's a shared smart contract on Ethereum because it's all in the same OpenSea collection. But you can, like as I mentioned just earlier, you could buy .likey. Again, it's not my TLD. I don't even know who owned it. You could buy it on Namebase, and then you could pay $250 equivalent in Ethereum to stake it on Impervious Registry, and then that's a fee they take for their services, and then you can set your own prices of SLD sales from a 1 character, 2 character, 3 character, 4 character, and 5 character, and then you're paid in ETH. So it's on the Ethereum blockchain. And I staked .omen. I did a video on SkyInclude.com, I believe, /impervious of the process. It's a little bit stuck because sometimes it's hard with my screen recording in Metamask, but I've done it, and I've sold 27 SLDs as of recording, and I've gotten paid in Ethereum. I've earned about a half a ETH in sales in my Metamask from Omen sales. So I could share about it, but it's not just me. Anybody can stake their TLD on anybody can stake. So it's just a $250 upfront, and then you share 20% of sales to Impervious. And it's basically the same as a .ENS, not .ETH or ENS domain. It's using the same tech. The only issue is the integrations. So one of the other TLD owners is talking to me about getting MetaMask integration, but basically the integrations, the one thing that ENS has is integrations, OpenSea integration, MetaMask integration, so I could type my wallet name, but we basically got to get those integrations ourselves.
Yeah. Michael, may I add my 2 concerns with Impervious?
Of course, please.
Okay. So, and I love what they're doing. And, if I have the opportunity, if their prices were lower, I'd put up all 750 of my TLDs and call it a night. My 2 concerns are, what if GoDaddy comes and launches a similar solution as Impervious down the road, and now your TLDs are staked here, and they're locked in that forever, the irreversible contract, and now there are much bigger market share, much marketing opportunities there with GoDaddy. That's the smaller concern. My bigger concern is, what if the similar thing that happened with Gateway happens to Impervious? What happens to our domain names or our TLDs?
Sure, I could hit both of those, and so the first one is, it's just kind of a business risk, I guess. We had Clay Collins here a couple months ago, the .c owner and a friend of mine. When the gateway and the whole name base issue, he was reassuring everyone, but he can't move .c very easily. He'd have to. It seems like to write. As far as I understand, if somebody doesn't want to be in the name base registry that's already staked, you can unstake, but you would basically rug your customers, and they won't share the data of who your customers are to port them, as far as I understand it right now. So it seems like any kind of staking we're doing in the Handshake ecosystem is kind of irreversible. So I threw an Omen, and of course, I think I paid 3,000 HNS for that or something. So of course, I was like, I'm like, man, it's true, it's gone. But I like the name, and it was like, it's good luck for the community. It was like I was one of the second one to censor the irreversible address after www. So I did it, but of course it's not my only TLD, and I'm not going to put every single TLD I put there. And what I usually tell people is, think about your TLD and what's your use case of your TLD. Like, some are identity, some are just like, I have some like last names, I have some that are, so you have different types of TLDs. And what's your plan for each one? Each one is like a business and a op. So, I like to experiment. Of course, I also make content out of it. But yeah, Omen is gone. It's hopefully going to be a good Omen, but that one's gone. But it's not like luckily, it's not my only TLD. And I think all owners of TLDs at stake there or anywhere should realize that, whether you go to any platform. So that's the first one. I guess you just got to accept that you're kind of marrying with this one, and that's just what it is. Of course, it would be great if other solutions that are better come along. But I just want to say, my last part of that is, there's too many people here that are waiting for the next solution. It's almost what happened to .wallet. I know I think he's here, and he's, I mean, it's not just him. It's a lot of us. We're all waiting for the next solution. We're like, oh, what's the best solution? When's the truly decentralized, highest distribution? I mean, it's almost like the problem of Handshake. There's so many ways we could use these that we're somewhat frozen on how to use them. So I would still suggest to at least try to use some of your names. So that's my first point. And then to answer your second point about what happens with Gateway, I mean, it's decentralized as a smart contract on Ethereum. I'm not an expert of smart contracts on Ethereum, but you own your SLD, your decentralized SLD is in your MetaMask. It's a ERC 721, I believe. Again, I'm not an Ethereum expert, but it's in your wallet. So you can still transfer them. I mean, I guess OpenSea could try to, if somehow there was a lawsuit, they would maybe not let them show up in your OpenSea wallet. That's what happens with NFTs, but you can still see your NFTs in your Ethereum wallet, somewhere else, however else you're open. So they won't be able to be taken away. And maybe Django is better at Ethereum blockchains or blockchain in general, but it's an asset in your wallet. It's not like with the Gateway case, it's a centralized solution, same as even traditional like name cheap. Like we can talk about Tornado.cash maybe next, but they have legal there's legal ramifications if they. I think the case is if they gave their customer database to allow these names to go somewhere else, Unstoppable would say you're not supposed to do that. You can't transfer these, you're under lawsuit, you're, et cetera, et cetera. So, but they can't stop this on a blockchain. So just like you can't stop somebody transferring a Handshake TLD on Handshake blockchain, you can't stop somebody from buying or selling or transferring at least. Maybe you can't buy or sell on OpenSea if they got that level, but you can still transfer your it's an NFT domain truly on an Ethereum blockchain. So I don't know if Django or others want to add to that or clarify.
No, it makes sense. Thanks, brilliant. I mean, I think part of the argument that that they had Unstoppable was at the first to market. So I guess this would be part of our way of marketing. Like if we have it on there, would that be considered first to market? Hey.
It's a good question. I mean, I do think that we should all look at that lawsuit with Unstoppable and what is market? Because, like .mastermind, right? It's TLD. I have Handshake.mastermind is a full site right now. We have this recordings on there. It's not an ICANN domain, but I'm not actually people want to buy SLDs on .mastermind, but I don't have it for sale. But I'm using Handshake.mastermind. You can find it in Google through .hns.2. So I don't know if Unstoppable started selling .mastermind, and then I started selling them after, would they sue me and say I can't sell Mastermind? But then I would say I've been using this domain for 2 years now. I've had Handshake.mastermind. So I don't know what use is, but using an extension doesn't mean you're selling SLDs. So I would just maybe even say put something, like X has X-piring, so that's use, right? Is that use? I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the definition of use is, but.
I just wanted to jump in really quick if I could.
Yeah, please, Mike. Thanks. Yeah, Mike Carson's here. Thank you, Mike.
Yeah, can you hear me okay? I'm getting feedback.
Yeah, I'm muting because I don't want to echo on that side, but it's a little bit of some like hissing in the background, like maybe the crickets or something, but I hear you fine.
Yeah, there's crickets. Hold on, let me go inside. But yeah, I just want to address the one question about if Impervious went dark or something like that, what would happen to the Impervious Registry? And I mean, this is the reason we built the Impervious Registry the way we did, is that we didn't, there's no central entity controlling the Impervious Registry right now. It's deployed to Ethereum. The contracts are deployed. And so, unless you consider Ethereum not, decentralized, then, the contracts are there. So even if Impervious went completely dark, website's down, the contracts are still deployed, you can still interact with the contracts. We're open sourcing all the stuff on our GitHub page. So like you could even host the website. And on that website, people could buy and manage domains wherever it's hosted. 1,000 people could put up the same website that's on right now on the registry.impervious.com or impervious.domains. So, 1,000 different people could have that, and you could buy .omen domains. You could manage them, renew them. You could even stake. You could even stake new TLDs. So this is if Impervious goes dark. There's no Impervious company. There's no impervious.com. If 1,000 people could still host that website, you could still stake domains and your Handshake TLDs, and you could still buy and manage your decentralized and also you could still resolve those with Beacon web browser and still sell them on OpenSea, as long as OpenSea is OpenSea is centralized, so it depends on what they want to do. But other than that, you can still transfer them between wallets and things like that. So it was designed specifically in a way so that it would be decentralized. So you didn't have to worry about any central entities or anything like that. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Thanks for that. Yeah, I'm first time I heard about I guess I call it mirror sites, or I wish Twitter did this. Twitter used to be like this. Twitter, I used to set up my own Twitter websites, and I used a Twitter API, Twitter 1.0, and then I could just pull my tweets. When I got blocked in China, because I'm in China still, I could just set up another API, and I could just set up another domain, and I could pull Twitter in, and then I could have my Chinese friends open Twitter, and it was like unstoppable. And this is 2008. The idea is this protocol, right? So it's like a protocol, or it's like, so you could set up your own Impervious registry using a smart contract on a different site, and then still access the domains, update your names, connect to your MetaMask. That's pretty awesome. So yeah, you also have Impervious domains. I wasn't aware of that one, and that's really exciting. All right, Paul, does that answer your questions? I think you said already.
Yep,
that was brilliant.
Awesome. Chingo, do you want to add anything to these points? Or we'll move maybe to Tornado.cash? Okay, so let's move to the next topic. I think it's Tornado.cash. If you go there, at least I checked, it says page not resolving, page not found. And that's because the domain got taken offline. I think it was a registrar was Google. I think the owners or the operators of Tornado.cash bought the domain through Google domains, and they were requested. Oh, I see somebody coming up. VJ. Hi, VJ. Is there something you want to add before we go next topic? Hello. Hi, VJ. Okay. You could just pop.
Hi, you say.
Oh. Hi, you say. Yeah, hi. Do you have something you'd like to add? How are you? Thanks. I've seen you on Twitter. Thanks for coming on stage.
Sorry.
I don't hear you so clearly. Sorry. Yeah, I don't hear you clearly. Maybe you could find another location. I'd love to hear from you. But okay, so back to Tornado.cash. Yeah, it got requested, I believe, by the U.S. Treasury to be taken down as much as possible. So of course the domain, various integrations. I didn't really follow the whole thing. I just looked at more of the domain. But it goes to the point of the need for decentralization. I'm not advocating money laundering, but I cannot. It's hard for me to. It's just another case of decentralization, right? So if they were on a Web3 domain, whether it's .eth or maybe Unstoppable or Handshake, that wouldn't have happened, right? I don't know if somebody here wants to kind of comment on that, but I do think this is a case for Handshake domains. Chango, do you have some thoughts if you're there? Okay. Okay, develop is coming up. So while we wait for people to comment, I just wanted to add this to the agenda at least, but that is a case of a central, again, another point of Web 2 or centralization where a domain can be taken down or seized from an authority. And again, I know in previous Twitter spaces, some people here are not based in the U.S. or are not following U.S. systems, and it's very interesting the way the world's going about what jurisdictions, what countries, who has authority of what can be done. So I see. Oh, Chango's maybe she had a tech issue. And speaker. Hey, Chango, you're back.
Stay unable to unmute.
No problem. I'm just so happy mine hasn't crashed yet. Because if mine crashes, we might have to start this over. Just fingers crossed it's stable. But yeah.
Hi. Can you hear me?
Yeah, VJ, I hear you. Although it's a little echoey. Let's try.
I don't know what that is. Can you hear me now? Is this better?
Yeah, this is better. I can hear you. Thank you.
Well, my apologies. Actually, my question, I was raising my hand at the end of the Impervious conversation.
Sure, let's go back to that.
Okay, what I was curious to know is, and forgive me if you've already gone over this, but so far a lot of what I've heard is how HNS is better than a lot of other blockchains, including Ethereum, for different reasons as a protocol. And my question is, with Impervious, or what I thought I had read or understood, or one of my hesitancies was about that you would use Ethereum or it would be converted to Ethereum versus HSN. Is that correct or not? How does that work?
Yep. Mike Carson's here. I could do my best and he could clarify, but it's basically it's a fork of ENS domains and it's using the Ethereum blockchain. So yeah, you would need to transact through Metamask and use ETH, cryptocurrency to buy or sell the domain.
Wait, sorry. So my understanding is that it's decentralized SLDs with Handshake as the root.
Yes, correct. That's how it is, and it's on Ethereum. Layer one, level one, layer one of Ethereum. Yeah.
Yeah. So the point is that so BJ, Handshake is the word behind the dot, and what's on Ethereum is the word before the dot. So it would be, VJ, which is on the Ethereum smart contract, and your dot, let's say Ridgeway, is on Handshake. So that is actually an ideal architecture. So when we're saying that Handshake is the right architecture for doing the words that's behind the dot, that's what we're talking about with decentralized DNS.
Yeah, and to further explain, like I can, or the way the internet is built, even I have to learn this, and I think a lot of people don't understand it. If you just think about Web 2 structure now, it is similar format. If VeriSign is the registry of .com, and ICANN process has granted and extended VeriSign company to be the steward, the custodian, the registry, the database holder of .com domains. And then GoDaddy or Namecheap or Google registrar are distributors and sellers of .com. And you buy a .com from those registrars. If you ever look at the details, there's an ICANN fee. I think it's like less than $1. But that's the structure of a Web 2 domain. It's some semi-decentralized already, but it's not in a blockchain system. It's in a a Web 2 system, right? But ICANN, and then they have VeriSign, and then they have GoDaddy, right? And in this case, what we're trying to do in Handshake is there's Handshake as a protocol, And then there's a registry, which can be Impervious. It can be Namecheap. It could be Gateway. Of course, we don't do that one now. And then they're allowing people under that, like Encirca, Namecheap, and others to sell. So in a blockchain or a decentralized one, Impervious is an Ethereum registry, and then you choose to put your Handshake TLD to the Ethereum blockchain to then distribute your SLDs on Ethereum using the ENS domains fork. So I hope that is more clear, but it is very complex. It is, even for me, I'm still kind of grasping it.
So I noticed that one of my TLDs, I'm not sure what happened with Gateway, because my TLDs that were on Gateway are, one of them at least is appearing on Namecheap right now, .diva, for example, and I've seen someone registered QR.diva the other day. I don't have
access to stats. I don't control.
I'm not being
compensated for it. So do you know what's going on there?
Yeah, I can try my best. There's a few things. I think Gateway story will be one, the earlier stage learning lessons. We're all learning. So when you staked in the early, like maybe you did this a year ago, I guess you probably were in the 1 year ago, right? Staking of Namebase.
Yep.
Yeah, so I've done some there too. I think it was a very low fee, and we all did it. Well, not all, but a lot of us did it. And there was maybe some confusion with everyone, but I think you were staking with Namebase, not with Gateway. There's just some discussions about who you staked with, but it is the understanding that you staked with Namebase, not Gateway. And then Gateway was a registrar. I don't. So I'll just explain what I understand, and I might be wrong. But yeah, also I'm having mine are on Namecheap too now, and there was a transition during the last few months, and then Namebase started selling them on Namecheap as well as, and there was this whole discussion with Gateway, and that was even before the wallet. But you can still request to unstake. I don't know the process, and of course nobody wants to rug customers, but yeah, it was basically automatically ported over a couple of months ago. And but you should be showing in your Namebase account. You don't get an email, but I get sales. So if you log into your Namebase account and you go to your transaction history tab, it's usually monthly, but I definitely was earlier in August. I had a bunch of SLD deposits even for 3-4 months ago, started hitting into my Namebase account. But your it should show the SLD was registered. But I do believe that a lot of people started getting paid for the SLD sales via their Namebase account. Maybe you want to double check that. But of course, there could be issues, but that's what I've noticed.
Yeah, I reached out to Gateway right before, they went under, and my last email to them bounced. So I don't know, that was the end of that conversation.
And I've been oh, go ahead.
I was just saying I've been at Namecheap a little bit back and forth, and they say they're looking into it. But just the whole process back when we were supposed to stake at Namebase, it was a little bit strange because it was like, all right, send your TLD over to Johnny@namebase.io. That was the process. Like, it just didn't seem very professional. So that's what was done, and then I don't have any transaction history that was done. That was just a TLD that was kind of gifted over or whatnot. And that's all that I see right now. Yeah.
I'm not sure others on stage could comment too, but basically, I'm not going to say it was the most smooth process. I mean, I think we all should understand it's still early. I mean, I think it's still early. I think I also sell on Amazon, and I actually did a speech at a meetup here about Amazon yesterday. And it's still kind of early for Amazon, although it's not like it was 5 years ago. But even 5 years ago, people were like, oh, Amazon, you can't really make money selling on Amazon. But if people 5 years ago are making tons of money now, I think we're still so early in Handshake. But I don't believe anybody here is trying to purposely like rug you or take your TLD or not pay you. It's just a little bit of a learning process for, I think, the whole community. But I think you should be directing your customer support to Namebase, not to Gateway as a TLD owner that's in the staking program. So that would be my answer, because I had ones that were also for sale on Gateway as well as in Circa and others a year ago. And sales are still happening, but on Namecheap and other non-Gateway. And the HNS income is going to my Namebase account now. So there might be some issue, but I don't think there's any intention to not pay you. And there have been some that have been on staking from Namebase's registry. I've seen it. Of course, it's easier if you don't have any sales, but even if you have some sales, you are able to, although I wouldn't really want you to do that as a community member, because it just doesn't help the trust of the Handshake system, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I don't think anyone's rugging me. It was just, a little bit of uncertainty. I just wanted to clear that up. Cool.
Thanks, guys.
It's been totally a little bit chaotic, but I mean, I think the whole crypto market, Handshake is a little bit weird. It's kind of like half Web 2 domain feel and community and Web 3 or crypto. But yeah, I mean, the crypto market everywhere has been hammered hard, and a lot of companies in the crypto system have, whatever you want to call it, like run out of runway, run out of money, et cetera, et cetera. So it's just, I think, part of business. Businesses are like living things, right? They need money, they need team members to operate them. So I think that there's some of this related to that part.
Yeah, I don't know if Mike's available, but I had a quick question about Impervious. Is there an option to reserve names so that those don't, like, for example, you don't want single letters registered in your TLD? Are you able to kind of set those aside or put it on a no reserve list?
Yeah, well, so we're going to add that, but right now there's a little bit of a workaround you can do in the meantime, which is you can, set the price to 0, and then you could just register the names yourself and then transfer them, or reserve them or whatever you want to do. But you just have to keep in mind that when you set the price to 0, anybody else could register it until you set the price back. But yeah, we do plan to have some reserving and gifting options available. But right now we're really focused on royalties. We're going to do royalties. That's going to be released soon. And then I think after that, we'll do that. So.
Awesome.
Yeah. I've been meaning to ask you this question. Sorry, guys, and maybe just take another minute. Is there a way to set it, for example, my TLD is .million. I just want people to register the numbers 1 through 1 million. That's it, just those numbers. Is there a possibility to set your TLD so that only a subset can be registered? Just wondering.
Yeah, not right now. Something like that could be possible, but I think it would have to be like custom work. Like you can add controllers and stuff to do that type of thing. So yeah, that's not really possible right now, but it may be possible, at a later time.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so just some tactics about, in my words. Yeah, like Mike said, you could set the price. Before you couldn't even set, when it first came out, we couldn't change the price, but now you can change the price of 1 character, 2 character, 3 character, 4 character, and then 5 and above. So there's 5 different prices. And then, of course, you got to pay a small gas fee. There's no fee to Impervious Registry, but there's a gas fee on Ethereum. And then, yeah, like he said, you could put it to 0. And of course, and anybody could register. But you can do this so fast. You can really do this. Maybe you could pick a middle of the night, not tell anybody. Of course, there's that risk. But you could stake, and it's almost instantaneous. It's not verified, though, because you didn't send it to a burn address. But I think even .contract's still not on a burn address, as far as I saw, which still has a decent amount of SLD sales. So you could do this like within the same 5-minute you could stake, pay the 250 in Ethereum. It shows up on the registry. Like, it was surprising to me when I did it how fast it happened. And then you're basically instantaneously on there. People, of course, could get rugged by you because you could just take it off, if you don't send it to the burn address. But you as a TLD owner, I did it myself. I bought some omens myself, as an omen TLD owner. And then actually I paid for them as a normal customer. I didn't even know I could decrease the, well, then it wasn't impossible, but you could just buy, you could just buy them fast and then maybe set, like Mike said, set the price to 0, buy them, and then change the price back. Ethereum gas prices have been very low because it's a bear market. So I've been doing it for like $1 US in gas fees to change the price right now. But yeah, just to put my thought in that.
Sorry for the noise if that's me, but my follow-up question was going to what you were just talking about the gas fees and all of that on Ethereum, and also how on Ethan, how does that affect the price of, and I mean, as some of us are holding, Handshake, and, I thought part of the idea was to grow, Handshake and the Handshake community. So overall, and also getting away from the exorbitant gas fees when it's not a bear market on ETH. So I'm just curious about the thought process on that and, how that all works.
Mike, you want to go first, or I can try?
I'm not sure I
can answer it. I mean, it's a common question, so, or at least the way I understand it. So the question is, why are we supporting ETH? Why not support the HNS token coin and make people use HNS tokens to buy the SLDs and sell SLDs? Why are we putting everything to the Ethereum blockchain where the use of the, it is true, because the only real need for HNS token is the renewal fee heartbeat transaction every 2 years once we move it over, right? There's no more use case for HNS of the .omin or the .www anymore. So she's just, and of course, a lot of people complained about the high gas fees on Ethereum. So my answer to the high gas fees is you don't have to do it here. You don't have to put your TLD here. I think Matt Zipkin, I think he's here actually, but it's a lot of people here, but you could just keep your own TLD on a Handshake and issue SLDs to your friends or to your members or to yourself. But this is for using it in a case of buying and selling decentralized SLDs, which is not yet available on Handshake. But Mike, I thought you were starting to say something, but go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I was just going to say that, Handshake, the goal of Handshake is a decentralized root zone. So that's the top level domain. So in my view, anything under the top level should be handled elsewhere, whether it's DNS, whether it's Ethereum or whatever, any other blockchain, or, just DNS, or, a database or whatever but the goal with what we were trying to do with Impervious is decentralized second level domains, because that hadn't been done except for what we did with Forever and Badass. We wanted to make it available for everyone. So they're decentralized. And the best way that we saw to do that was, forking ENS, because ENS works. I mean, look at .eth. They have 1.8 million SLDs on Ethereum. They did over $1 million in transactions in one day. They were doing that for a while. Like, it's tried and tested. It's open source. It's it's solid. And so that is, it was the way we saw to make it work. We wanted to get this to work. Decentralized second level domains. We wanted that. We knew there was a need for it, and we wanted to get it to work through Handshake. And so that's why we did it on ENS. But, if somebody does it on another chain or does it on Handshake, I don't suggest doing it on Handshake, but if you, on the first layer at least, but if you do it on a second layer or something like that, then yeah, hey, whatever works, that's cool.
That's cool, but yeah,
this is the reason why we did Ethereum.
Yeah. And to keep, I mean, this is a fascinating topic, but it's what I like about Handshake. It's more complicated and difficult. And like even in this conversation the last hour or so, I've even gotten stuck a little bit explaining all these levels of TLD, SLD, registry, registrar, registrant, etc. It is complex, but that's what I like about Handshake is, we talk about decentral web. You only can do it on Ethereum blockchain. Everything is on Ethereum. But Handshake, I can. That's why I like WordPress. Personally, I like open source. I like WordPress over like Shopify. Personally, and it's true. Look at the Handshake community. There's a lot of geeks and developers versus marketers, right? Because marketers like easy, but Ethereum is more of a consumer blockchain. And I've been kind of saying to people, Handshake is more like a B2B blockchain. It's like a business to business blockchain. It's for the TLD, like Mike says. I do believe there's some layer 2 handshake discussions. I really would love that too. But we can, as a TLD owner, we can do what we want with our TLD, which is amazing. We can put it on Ethereum, we can put it on Polygon, we can wait for a level 2, we can put it on Gateway and hope to not get sued by Unstoppable and shut down. We can do what we want with our TLD. And I think that's what makes it beautiful, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you so much for the answer. That clears some things up for me.
Also, I just want to give some other ideas about the Impervious or even Ethereum. There's 2 points I forgot about. Like when the Unstoppable stuff happened, I've noticed more of the ENS community and the Handshake community supporting each other, being more friendly. There was a little bit of this kind of like hate and competitiveness somewhat in some of the tweets. Of course, we can't control what people say, but I have noticed a little bit more friendliness between ENS and Handshake, which I support. We had Brantley on Mark Smith's Twitter or Clubhouses last year. We were always open to collaborating with ENS. Mike Carson or Impervious has made some improvements, and I'm not going to use the right word, but some different ways of improving ENS domains technology. So I do think that there is this kind of like collaboration and friendliness. Of course, I think there's less and less .good .eth available domains, right? I mean, I've seen some crazy ones on Twitter, like, show me your best ENS domain. And I see like 82498341.eth, I'm like, come on, man. Like how many, but I just wanted to comment on that. And then another point I want to bring up is FSBO. For sale by owner. He's listening now. He says in a loud place to come up to share, but he's doing some cool stuff with his TLD on Impervious. He's giving some airdrops to customers, and I think on the Polygon chain to the same Ethereum wallet that you buy. So if you buy, again, I'm not an owner of this. I don't get any commission. I hope maybe he'll thank me, but FSBO, for sale by owner, and I think you can join a Telegram group, but that's kind of the cool thing. A lot of people say there's not good marketing in Handshake, but now I think you can leverage these tools of Ethereum, and you can give tokens. You can, do airdrops, because it's a different. Handshake is more like Bitcoin. It's more private. You can't really see as easily who owns what. It's actually by design, from what I understand. But where Ethereum is totally transparent, your Ethereum address is public. I can see every NFT domain or everything you own. So there's 2 different use cases, in my opinion. So just some more thoughts to share. And I see some more people coming up on stage. That's great. If you'd like to introduce yourself and share some points. I am adding a couple new people now. Hi, Web3. Hi.
Hello, can you hear me okay?
Yep, I hear you.
I wanted to point out that the Impervious Registry is the first, and there goes the dog. It's the first of many, because it's on
Web3.
the Ethereum blockchain, but Handshake works with so many other blockchains. And it's just so nice to see an example of Handshake on another blockchain, and yet we have Cosmos looking into it. We have other blockchains looking into it. So this is the first of many to come.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, we have her name's Chaingo, but Cosmos here on stage, Interchain.fm host. And we would love to do more on Cosmos. A lot of us are fans of Cosmos, which is the Atom token, which has its own like ecosystem of chains. And that's what's the great thing, right? We've also been really trying hard. Handshake Jesus is trying to get to Sif Chain. I have Sif Chain to gift to them. I've been talking to the team at Sif Chain. We're trying. The Handshake community is also gifting. We want to get more of these onto. I think some Cardano. I think there's some Cardano ones. We're trying to gift these or get these to the actual, users. And then, you could, of course, it wouldn't make sense to put a Cosmos TLD on Ethereum, right? If you have like some kind of Cosmos related TLD, most likely, hopefully you as the owner would put that onto that ecosystem for that ecosystem to use. So it's true. Thank you, Web3 Insights, for that. And then I see Domain V, are you?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
Okay, I have two questions. The first one is, with the price of HNS so low, what's going to incentivize miners to secure the system? Isn't that important that we use the Handshake coin whenever possible? And then the second question concerns the gateway situation. Some of those domains at Gateway are going to be coming up for renewal, and there's nothing we can do. They're in limbo. And I'm just wondering if maybe Mike could give us an update on that.
Okay, thank you. I guess I'll go by Michael. I think me, Mike. Mike, you want to try first? I could try.
Well, yeah. I mean, for gateway related issues, you'll have to reach out to Gateway and James Stevens. I know he's not communicating well, but that's you'll have to reach out to him.
To jump in, maybe I could also jump in. I've heard, at least I believe, that renewals will not expire. I don't want to be quoted 100%. I know this is like a record Twitter space, but I've been told by people involved that they're not going to lose your domains because they know you can't renew them. So I think they're just going to skip the renewal fee and just extend it, as far as I understand, because it's like a legal issue right now. So I don't think you should be concerned about losing your domains due to the expiration, as far as I understand.
And your question about securing the blockchain is a good one. That's an important question about the price of Handshake, because it is important what incentivizes the miners. So, there's different things that can be done for that. But it's a good question. It's something that's worth thinking about a lot because as the price has gone down, the hash rate has gone down also, which is concerning. But I mean, some things that I've thought about that could possibly help are, there's a huge airdrop for the open source developers, like freezing that airdrop, just cutting down on supply. You could even, this would require probably a soft fork or a hard fork. I'm not sure, but like just cutting out some of the coin rewards or even lowering them, basically, you got to, how do you get the, I mean, the way that I've thought about it, it's a tough question, but the things I've thought about, and I even I put an issue up on GitHub about this on HSD because I think it's important, but how do you, there's just so much. Why is the price down so much? Because there's somebody has a lot and they're selling any chance they get, right? Who would have a lot? I think miners right now have a ton and they're just selling. They're the ones selling. And at least in my view, miners have a ton of HNS and they're selling it all. There's not enough buyers. So, how do you, you got to cut down the supply, I think. That's just, Zipkin's probably much better qualified to talk about this, but I think something needs to be done. It's not, it is important to secure the blockchain and to have the price higher. And so, it's something that's probably not going to be easy to solve, but it's definitely worth thinking about.
Okay, I see Simon just came up. Sorry, I can't recognize these names.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
Hey, Simon, thanks for coming up. Yeah, I'd love to hear what you have. Is it related to this discussion, or love to hear your insights?
Yeah, I was waiting for the last speaker to finish. I wasn't sure if they were done talking.
Okay. I think I want to add a little bit point to the fee, to the price of HNS personally, and then we can move to if it's a new topic. For me, I of course nobody's happy with the price to be low, and of course we're talking about Impervious on Ethereum and SLDs not being done on a Handshake, but I still am a believer in the token or the price of the coin to be up long term. I do think there's deflationary things that will happen. And I do believe as adoption happens more and more, the value or the demand for others to want to do what, I see Likey here in the stage on here and as a listener, and I was talking about him, but when more and more people see that, hey, I can buy a Handshake TLD for 1,000, whatever he paid, like 1,200 HNS, which times 5 cents. I don't know what, my brain's off right now, but very little bit of my money. Of course, I got to pay some staking fees, and then I can start to make passive income. I know Mike Carson's also said it. We will make sure this token is, its coin, continues to flourish no matter what, because we are invested in it. Even if we're not making direct money in Handshake, we're making Ethereum. But we will keep this chain going, and because we rely on it for our income on whether it's sales on Ethereum or Cosmos or others. And I do think that some other solutions coming out will have tokenomics or systems that will go to the Handshake chain itself. But I do see a day where the Handshake price is so high that even a heartbeat transaction would be semi-significant to keep my domain for another 2 years. So, I'm a long-term believer still.
So what I kind of wanted to add to this conversation was that, so for one, I've been, I guess, a community member of Handshake for, I guess, almost like the very beginning, if I can think about. One of the first, I guess, miners that purchased hardware to help support the blockchain and so forth. And I've yet to sell any of my Handshake at all from mining. However, I have participated and supported Namebase and buying TLDs and participated in the auctions. And I thought all of that was very, very useful. Coming in from just having experience with blockchain technology from a developer standpoint, as a miner, and just helping as an educator, the one thing I've noticed was that since we're in the very early stages of this new technology, it really becomes a conversation that has still, may it be simple, not simple to us, but to newcomers coming in, is really just letting people know what this is even about. For all of us that have, that understand top level domains, that understand the importance of decentralized dApps, because as of right now, most dApps, decentralized applications, are not fully decentralized, even when it comes down to your domains. And unless they're like maybe potentially using IPFS, the interplanetary file system. But other than that, a lot of websites can still get shut down. So Handshake, with that use case alone, is something that I feel that is so powerful that it's going to require just more and more just basic use cases and simple repetition of what it is this offers to the community. And then what I just want to kind of like second that would be is that, when I'm still supporting the Helium blockchain, but one of the things that with Helium that I've noticed that kind of faltered in the beginning was that they had value and they still offer value in IoT, but then they started focusing on the price. And as soon as they started doing that, I noticed a change in everything. And I feel like that's the part where we all want to make money. And I totally get that. You know what I mean? No one wants to walk away without money. But the way we can establish making sure that we all walk away with nice deep pockets is to continue to let people know, hey, there's an opportunity, there's value here, and this is how you do it. And we got, and to speak up more and more about the basics of using Handshake and letting people know, hey, you know what, you have a decentralized application or an NFT project or something that you've been working on. Well, how do we make this even more decentralized, and maybe even helping current projects make another version or a Handshake version of their current DApp? Maybe it could be a way to kind of help, spread the word out a little bit. But those are just a couple things I've been thinking about.
Thanks, Simon. Yeah, I guess it wasn't a hot topic today, but the Tornado.cash I brought up, I think I saw Zipkin commenting on their IPFS address saying, hey, you could use an easy to remember domain name on that. That's, so, but yeah, I think there's going to be more and more case studies and use cases as there's going to be more censorship and centralization, I believe, I don't want to get myself too personal, but I can barely leave China. It's crazy. They're trying to hold people here. I mean, it's just. Unfortunately, I think the current system is going to be more and more desperate, and I think there's going to be more and more needs for this decentralization, just macro level. And I think that will just have to push the price up of the coin of any system that is supporting that, as more people will need that. So I do agree, though, when people start just focusing on coin price, it would probably mess up the way you're thinking about the utility and the use case. So I agree with that point for sure. Okay. I mean, there's a couple of small points I have still. We're at an hour and a half mark. I hope everybody's enjoying. Feedback's always appreciated. And Arif, are you there? I see you're unmuted. Arif, would you like to share? It's a little staticky. At least on my side, I don't hear you.
Mike, you're gonna mute him.
Should I mute him?
Yeah, and I don't know who it is. It might be somebody's mic.
Yeah, I see Arif's unmuted, and I think it's him. Excuse me, Arif, I'm gonna mute you, okay? Mute. Okay.
Hi, Mikey.
Hello. Hi, Arif. Yeah, I just heard you now. I'd love to hear your insights or questions.
Thank you very much. I joined the HNS community by Noel from HTX, and I liked it a lot. But I was surprised to see that I have had a many wallet, which was actually in a complicated situation. But I hope it will get over. And also, I think the problem between undeveloped, Unstoppable, and HNS might actually help HNS too in a positive way, because the conflict might have some more familiar reputation between people. So .wallet thing. So do you think if there is a HNS TLD like wallets or like suppose HNS Pay, something like that, and we have the web 2 version of that domain, like I have personally wallets.xyz domain I own, or I have hnspay.xyz, this kind of domain I have. So suppose there is HNS extension TLD like wallet, and many people have many .wallet like Michael.wallet, Metaverse.wallet, many. So do you think we can actually use the web 2 domain for something for that HNS extension, like my wallets.xyz? How you think it can be utilized or cooperate with the extension like HNS.wallet?
Okay, Simon, you want to take that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. So if I kind of understand the question kind of correctly, so the best thing about that would be, as that domain owner of such and such .wallet, I would
Wallets.xyz, yes.
Yeah. So you have the top level domain, and then you can establish sub levels from that, right? And then you can establish those little different web pages based off of those sub levels if you wanted to as well. And you can do try to do the flip, the one-on-one flip main, and you get the domain and you try to hope that someone else wants that same domain name, and then you can, use the auction like Namebase to try to auction it off or sell it. Or this offers you another barrier of opportunity, which is then allowing the community saying, hey, say for example, all right, so one of the projects that I'm working on is digital real estate, okay? And I've created a couple domains for mine. It's called the Digital Agent and tokenizing real estate properties, hard asset tokens, and tokenizing that process. And I've created one top domain and then a sub-level domain to support each different category within tokenizing a real estate property. And then you can go ahead and then present your domain or your .wallet domain in sub-levels to different projects or communities and really showcase, hey, this is what you can use it for, or I can create this for a new business that's looking to get into blockchain, but they don't know how, or they don't know what to do or how to use it. This is your opportunity to be that quote unquote subject matter expert and create a new entire revenue stream that you can control, essentially.
Okay, thanks, Simon. Also, Arif, I do agree with you. I, of course, it's hard to say if it's a net positive or negative about the Unstoppable lawsuit, but I think it's a long-term positive because Unstoppable pays so much money on Facebook ads and all these advertising they're doing everywhere, YouTube everywhere. They do ads like crazy. One of my strategies actually, when I made my YouTube videos, I did like Unstoppable versus Handshake YouTube video, because people are looking for, alternatives or other. So it just brings more attention to Handshake. I do agree with that. And it's cool you heard about it from Noel.tx. Noel's here. I don't know if he wants to come up, but there's also Namescon coming up, and that's going to be, Noel's heading up that initiative. If Noel's, I could do all the talking, but I always like it if others, especially the ones doing the initiative, want to share. But Noel, are you able to raise your hand? But that's coming up just in a few weeks. Actually, we could talk about that for a minute. I'll just see if Noel comes up. But there's also going to be a happy hour networking for free. But of course, it is a paid event. I know Mike Carson is coming, and Matt Zipkin, and a bunch of others in the community will be there in Austin, Texas. I don't want to get the dates exactly wrong, but it's early September in Austin. And we're also going to be auctioning off the .e on Handshake, the single letter E. I believe that's confirmed. It's, at least I feel, 99% confirmed. So that'll be always a great one. And of course, we're going to get some other great names on the auction there. And as always, it'll be, as the Flamingo Handshake auction system always does, we give a percentage to the community organizations. So we're really excited for that. And Noel's here. Great, Noel.
Hey guys. I feel like you pretty much covered it, Mike. But yeah, it's something that we're all to. Mike Carson with Impervious was a major sponsor, as well as ATX and several other, different individuals or, companies from the Handshake community. It's been really amazing. As Mike McLeany, you put together HeyDeCon and Namescon previously, but it's really amazing just to kind of see our decentralized community come together. But yeah, we pretty much have most things together for Namescon. One of the reasons that kind of like the Handshake sessions and Handshake happy hour is free is because of the community support, in sponsoring Namescon. And so that's why, I've been trying to do everything I can to just get kind of people outside of the normal Namescon attendees, people from different startups or from different blockchain communities around Austin or Texas to be able to walk in the door and be able to mingle with other Handshake enthusiasts and learn what is Handshake all about. So that's really what we're trying to do. I mean, obviously the first goal is to, educate the domain industry and inform them what is possible with Handshake, right? But then the second one is to continue to, spread the word to kind of like the other, Web3 blockchain startup communities.
Awesome. I obviously wish I could go. And one other point is I want to go just for this panel. I don't know if you're able to confirm who's on this panel, but I believe Unstoppable's on the panel. And as far as I understood, Mike Carson's on the panel. Is that true?
Yeah. So this is separate from the handshake sessions that we're going to have on September 2nd. So besides that, on day one, so that's August 31st, it's going to be kind of more of like a general blockchain panel. And so I made sure that Mike Carson's on there. We have Tom Barrett from Encirca, he's a huge handshake supporter. And as well as Ray King, he's founder of Pork Bun, who's also a huge member of our community. And so those three are going to be on this panel with an Unstoppable Domains co-founder. At least that's as much information as I have. So I think that's going to be a really interesting one to watch. And then Soren is going to be, who's the chairman of Namescon, he's going to be the host, which he is a huge handshake supporter, as we all know.
Yeah, Soren's great. Yeah, I really appreciate Soren. But that panel sounds really red hot. I mean, man, those are always interesting. We had Brantley from ENS Domains at First HandyCon and with a few other, similar people there. Like it was interesting. It was one of the most popular sessions, I think. So I
remember. I was there for that conversation.
Yeah, I remember that too. Oh, right. That'll be interesting. I can't wait to hear how that goes. Okay, we're coming up to almost a 2-hour mark. I think that's usually a healthy time to start to wrap up. Maybe we can use the next 10, 15 if there's either new people or new topics. I think I covered most of mine. Just one couple of points is there was a MetaMask integration for Impervious. I put on one of my tweets late. It's like a forum, community forum. One of the members in the community posted a request to MetaMask to support using Impervious domains on Ethereum as a wallet address. But I guess there has to be enough votes or interest. So I upvoted it and I commented on it from my name. If you could try to find that. It's hard for me to link or show things on Twitter Space. But if you see it on one of my recent tweets, that's one point. And then RF asked about OpenSea integration of Handshake. I know a lot of people would love that, and we hope to see as a top marketplace. OpenSea can work on Impervious or Forever domains or Ethereum-based smart contracts. I think maybe they support Polygon or Matic or some others, but they don't currently integrate with Handshake. But it would be very hard because it's a Bitcoin or Bitcoin-based blockchain. So the best bet to get on OpenSea would be to get onto a Ethereum or one of those other supported blockchains that OpenSea supports. RF, that was a question you asked. And then somebody asked about HIP2, which is the well-known wallet. And a lot of people want to use a user handshake name as their wallet address. So it is possible to be done now in Bob Wallet's latest upgrade. I think Nathan Woodburn, there was a few contributors there that made that happen. There was also some bounty that even I paid to some of those people to make that happen. So that is, I believe, in the latest update of Bob Wallet. And of course, hopefully Namebase could integrate that to their platform, and others in Handshake could integrate HIP2, which is the well-known wallet, which allows you to use your Handshake name as your wallet address for at least Handshake coins for now. Oh no, it's other coins too, but using the Handshake protocol. I hope I say that correctly, but others can correct me here. So those are my other couple of points that I had on the list. If there's any other questions or points people want to bring up, I think we can do that now.
The only other question I did actually for you, Mike, you've been killing it since the beginning. And I'm sure, I don't know if you haven't heard this enough, but I've told you many times, we appreciate you, continue doing everything you're doing. You've been grinding and stuff like that, but you are one person and stuff. What does and if you know, or if anybody else knows, what does the future look like with, content marketing or just marketing in general on Handshake and the organization of our community. If you have a new person coming into this, like how are we incorporating that new individual into Handshake? Where would be the best place, and how do we make this more user friendly? Not in the sense of blockchain, but just in gaining access to the information and just without overwhelming people. Is it, what does that look like? And I'd love to hear anybody else's input on that.
Yeah, thanks. Well, first of all, thanks for your compliment. I feel like the last few month or so I've been not as active, but I'm still trying my best to stay involved and host these spaces and other contributions and videos when I can. But yeah, thank you for recognizing that. There's others here like Noel. He's heading up the Namescon in Austin, which is I just learned at the very end of August as well as early September. It's a 2 or 3 day event. As far as the organization, it is hard. It is challenging. There's been years. I had the Brave browser blow up last summer where it kind of burned me out for a couple weeks due to that drama. It's a very new thing, crypto and decentralized communities, right? I mean, Bitcoin started that, and late 2000s and early 2010 was when that. But it's not centralized, right? That's the biggest challenge to when you're against Unstoppable, which is a centralized San Francisco VC-backed funded company, right? So they get millions of dollars into their bank account in America, and then they take that and they hire a Facebook ads specialist on a job forum, and they pay this Facebook ad specialist salary plus probably KPI, and then they pay Facebook ads a lot of money to say they're the best Web3 domain solution there is and to buy your name now, right? So obviously that's a more traditional, easy way versus a decentralized community on crypto such as Handshake. So it is harder to coordinate, right? We're trying this Twitter space. There's various Discords. There's various channels everywhere. There's Telegram groups. There has been some smaller groups forming that have some more people that coordinate and organize. Really a centralized. There is an organization. Name base used to have more resources and staff on hand to help with the community management. That's not been as possible lately due to the various factors. I'm not sure. I don't have an easy answer for that. It's a challenge. I mean, somebody has to step up to be as active as I want to be, but I feel like that's probably the best place that I would say to go to connect with others in the Handshake community, the developers, the community members. But I mean, there's nothing stopping you or anyone. I mean, I didn't get permission to start making YouTube videos or any other kind of content. So, I mean, you don't have to get a permission or approval from anyone, which is what I like about it.
Yeah, and that's the cool thing about it. And I think that that be just like kind of piggyback off what you're saying. And I think that's what, from being part of various blockchains, I've noticed that kind of like across the board, like unless you have like that like you were saying, that centralized unit of funding and VCs coming from a world, at least in the US, it's very capitalistic. It's very like, hierarchy, listen to your boss. These are the rules, And then go into blockchain where it's like, no, it's not the reduction of leaders. It's actually the increase of leaders where everyone has the opportunity to lead and offer assistance and support. And we come from a world where we're normally waiting for someone to tell us what to do. It's like, because of that, it's like nobody acts. And then we're kind of hesitant on acting. Because that is something that I've also been struggling with myself, was just like, how do you claim your territory essentially without coming off like, oh, this person's trying to like own it, like how Facebook, trying to claim the metaverse, like with Meta. Super crazy like analogy, but without feeling like, you're coming in and trying to take ownership. Is that allowed?
Yeah, I mean, again, I mean, we did discuss a little bit about hard fork. I mean, it's probably a little bit today. It's been talked about more in the past, but I think that needs almost 100% approval to be done by every miner, anybody mining, right? But, besides something like that, which is pretty drastic, anything kind of goes. And honestly, that's kind of what's kept me motivated with Handshake, even in this bear market. And you can see a lot of people contributing and being active in Handshake, even during a bear market, is when you compare it to other blockchains, sometimes they call them shit. I now understand what I call them shit coins, because if you look in other Telegram groups of other communities, you'll see like, when does team have update? Like there's butterfly domains, beefly, and they're still kind of around, I think, but it's just if you look at that community, I don't want to pick on them, but it's an easy example. You see like the people that bought the token are like the customer, and then there's like the team, and it's like so they're like, when update, when this, when that, right? Like, and then the team's like, oh, we're working on it. It's in our roadmap. It's like a company. It's not really like a blockchain, right? It's like there's like an investor or a customer, and there's the team or the foundation or the main group. Whereas here, it's so flat. That's what I like about it. But of course, it makes it much more complicated and difficult. But that's and then another point was, the Unstoppable people even are talking to me on Twitter, kind of trying to ruffle my feathers. They're like, was Handshake at consensus? I should have actually said Noel you did have that meetup at consensus, but I guess Unstoppable paid a sponsorship to consensus to be on a panel. Maybe they didn't get paid, maybe they didn't pay, maybe they were invited, but I believe they must have paid for that through sponsorship to be on that panel. But this woman or man or anonymous person on Twitter kept on saying to me, was Handshake there? I'm like, well, you're like asking, was Bitcoin there? Was Bitcoin on the panel? Handshake is not a company or a organization. It's a protocol. But yeah, I guess I finally said, no, there wasn't anybody officially from Handshake. He's just like, oh, case closed, or something like this.
So like, as a community member, I attended. You know what I mean? But like you said, is that officially? Like, can we claim that?
Yep. No, I think you want to say something on that.
Yeah. To me, honestly, I was at consensus, and we had we had a lot of Handshake community members there. But my favorite part, obviously, was our own Handshake and DWeb meetup that we had kind of after consensus. And to me, it just really spoke to kind of like the camaraderie that we all have. I mean, you can see it here online, but then also even in person, we had Chango, was there. And also I wanted to speak to like the presence that we had at consensus itself. Well, Stephen McKee was, he was a host of a panel, a very prominent panel, centered around privacy and, ZK snarks and so on. And he was proudly a representative of Handshake. That's what he exclaimed. That's the person that introduced him said that, he represents Handshake. So just wanted to touch on that. Even though Handshake didn't pay tens of thousands of dollars like Unstoppable domains, our passionate community, speaks, well beyond that.
Yeah, I should have answered her that. It was just some anonymous Twitter person hassling me, but I should have brought that one up. Okay, we're basically at time. I love this. I think 2 hours is healthy. Of course, I know some of these spaces go for multiple hours, but I think we covered at least what I had on my list. I hope everybody had a chance to ask questions. I know last time some people said they didn't get a chance to speak. I mean, this is an open forum. Just request to speak, and unless there's some technical issue, I try to approve them. So thanks everybody. We try to do these once a month. I guess the next event that is the Namescon. We're also gonna have the auction with the .e there. I'll be doing it online. We're figuring out how to like plug in our air meet thing at the happy hour to do that auction. And unless there's any last points, I think I might just end. This is recorded, and we will. I think also Terra Spaces is helping. She is here recording this, and but we will also have it on our various channels too. And thank you all for being here.
Thank
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, thanks, Simon. All right, everybody. So I'll hit end.
Thanks, Mike. Thanks, everybody.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.